It's a Friday, and Friday is payday, people, as we like to say. It's sitting here in the month of May. It's May 15th, halfway through the month, almost to June. Let's not go that fast just yet. We got a great Friday show that we're going to get after. It's Donnie Rightside, and it's Joe Raineri. And boy, oh boy, the NBA back in our lives tonight with an action-packed doubleheader. But more importantly tonight, we're going to be taking a look at PGA Championship action, a log jam up on the leaderboard. Scotty Scheffler's actually tied for first place, and what that means for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Also, NHL series. Ooh, tough times in Buffalo, but partying in Vegas as they're set to go on to the conference finals here. And that's what we do, Joe. And also, how about this? We always talk about a schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How about the NFL schedule? Set in stone and ready to go. Just like us on the early line right here, Joe, on the SportsGrid Network.
Big weekend. We got also, don't forget, the PGA Championship underway. I officially have as many birdies as Bryson DeChambeau does, and I didn't play golf at all yesterday. So, yeah, we got, and the Preakness, so we got a lot going on here this weekend.
About I'm glad Joe brought that up before we get to the hottest topic of the day, because the Preakness, what are we even doing anymore? And that's where we'll leave it. So, you're upset about the Preakness. You want the PGA. You want the NHL. You want Major League Baseball. You want the NBA. How about the hottest topic? Fill up your cup of coffee. Get energized. Get caffeinated for the weekend. What's that topic, Joe?
Well, Donnie, I think today we have to talk about the most unlikely savior in the history of college football. And I'm talking about the four-letter network known as ESPN. I know. Most of the time we are ripping the mothership for having way too much control over the sport. But right now, they are the only adults in the room standing between us and the absolute destruction of the postseason. Now, last week we told you that the Coaches Association was pushing for 24 teams to make the playoff. Yay! Well, now we have the suits in the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big Ten all singing the same tune. They are all lining up to beg for a 24-team playoff. The Big 12 is out here claiming that 24 teams provides, and I quote, the type of access that is warranted. The ACC is crying about Florida State and Notre Dame getting left out, and this has bailout for mediocrity written all over it. There are not 24 teams in this country that deserve to be in any sort of playoff, period. And if you go to 24, you aren't watching a national championship chase. You're watching a participation trophy ceremony. You are making the regular season mean absolutely nothing, totally irrelevant, just so the ACC and the Big 12 can protect their profit margins. But here comes ESPN laying the smackdown. Oh, hard to believe. They have reportedly told the commissioners absolutely not. They want to stay at 12 or 14 and absolutely no more than 16 teams. Now, let's be brutally honest. ESPN isn't doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They own the rights for up to 14 teams in a playoff. If that field expands beyond that, well, then they have to open up the bidding to Fox and everybody else. They are protecting their turf. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care about the motive. I care about the result. Because if corporate greed is the only thing stopping these commissioners from ruining the sport, then for once I am cheering for the four-letter network. We need the regular season to matter. We need the national championship chase to feel earned, not handed out to a 4-loss or 5-loss team that finished 5th or 6th in their conference. Greg Sankey and the SEC, they are stuck at 16 and they're okay with it, which is the absolute limit of sanity. Because anything more than that, and you'll just be watching the Bahamas Bowl being sold with a different name.
Hot topic to start the day, Joe. But by the way, you do take a look at Division I college football. If they did up it to 24 teams, Joe, that's only 17% of the total teams making into the playoffs compared to the NBA at 53%, the NHL at 50%. And how about Division I basketball going to 76 teams? That's 21%. We can also argue back and forth what make for me. I just want to watch games, Joe, that actually matter in the playoffs, which means that we don't have guys sitting out and transferring because they actually want to win a national championship. If we would have had it at 2 teams, 4 teams, or whatever, that makes bowl season the most ridiculous charade in the history of sports here. I don't mind the increase, but you're always right about one thing. The 24 team isn't upsetting the number 1 team. That's not going to happen here. But I just want to watch football where 2 teams actually care as opposed to not care, and maybe we'll get to that point of it here. But it is about one thing. It's money. We don't want it to go to 24. And you say to yourself, Joe, right? Well, isn't 24 teams more money for your network? Oh, you might have to open up the bidding or lose some of those games. Now it makes sense. You want more money for yourself and not for other networks here. Fits perfectly in there, Joe. And away we go on a Friday to some of the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which include, Joe, your New York Jets, week number 1. Is this going to be the biggest game in the history of sports? Well, maybe not. Jets are traveling to Tennessee to take on their former coach. How about that, Joe?
Yeah, great. Listen, I get usually maybe a week or 2 of hope in the season, Donnie, as a Jet fan, and then it begins to wane usually right around the end of week 2, starting into week 3, and total dysfunction comes up. So, hey, listen, I think it's going to be fun to watch, but again, I'm rooting for Robert Saleh because I want the Jets to win absolutely no more than 3 games.
Robert Saleh and the boys, the Jets opening week. By the way, somebody has to win. Technically, they don't, though. They can end in a tie. Wouldn't that be hilarious in week number 1? How about the PGA at Aronimink, Joe? We got 7 players at 3 under, a logjam on the leaderboard. That's all you ask for heading into the weekend. You know what we don't like? Hey, Rory's got a 9-shot lead. Come on now. We want guys up at the top of the leaderboard with a lot of fun for this weekend here. How about Aldrich Putgeier? He's also tied at -3 after round number 1. You got a nice mix of superstars like Scheffler and other guys like Keimer and Yeager and Min-Woo Lee at the top of that leaderboard, Joe.
Yeah, the biggest winner yesterday, Donnie, was the golf course because it kicked the crap out of every one of the world's best golfers on that. DeChambeau can't print a new set of golf clubs fast enough, Donnie, with his 3D printer. And I got news for you. For everything I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like they're going to make the course any easier for these guys. No. So finally, we won't get a 20-under tournament winner here.
Ramp it up. And by the way, ramping it up, those Montreal Canadiens handle the Buffalo Sabres. Are the Sabres fans going like, come on, Josh Allen, save us? It's already football season?
I walked outside to start the grill last night, and the game, the puck had just dropped. I came back in, it was 3-2. They scored 5 goals in 4 minutes, and I'm going, what in the world is happening here right now? Well, what's happening is the Canadians got somewhat better goaltending than the Sabres did. 6-3, 9 goals. We liked the over, but I didn't realize we were getting 9 goals last night.
As for the stars, Joe, sometimes you have to settle with the moon. What are we talking about here? Disney lowering the price of their ads for the next Super Bowl upcoming. You can ask for whatever you want, but the market's going to dictate what you're going to get.
Always. And you're going to have a bidding war like you always have, which is just amazing, Donnie.
Get here on time, Joe. You don't show up a couple minutes late here. You ready to go for the people. And by the way, for the people, we mean the PGA Championship. Garrick Higo shows up late by a minute or 2. 2-stroke penalty. Get in there, kid.
He wasn't getting a haircut, I can tell you that.
I was getting a haircut yesterday, by the way, and I was not late for that appointment here. Chris Knobloch, how about this, Joe? His 3-year extension kicks in this year. They already fired the guy.
Yeah, gotta go. Yeah, but was he playing goalie? Was he the goalie? I don't remember.
Man.
Yeah, okay. No, all right. I wasn't sure. Yep.
Joe, you live down in Florida. Do you get heat warnings out there for the old timers because they're doing it for the FIFA World Cup? Is it too hot now? Like, what's wrong? Everything's wrong with the World Cup coming to North America, people. Heat, serious heat illnesses. I don't know, Joe. Ain't no illnesses here. We're ready to roll. It's a Friday. Getting you the information you need. We'll be right back. Spread lines for your Friday right here on the SportsGrid Network, the early line. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri. Yesterday, we didn't have any NBA action, which sets up an awesome Friday night. 2 Game 6s, chances for teams to push it to Game 7 or move on into their conference finals. East Coast and West Coast here. Let's start game number 1 tonight, Joe. 7 o'clock start. The Detroit Pistons in town to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But it's the Cleveland Cavaliers with a 3-2 series lead at home, looking to close out the number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons. This line, Joe, opened up at 3.5. Some outlets at 3.5. Some are still at 4. The total in this one, low, 209.5. Can the Pistons extend the series to get it to 7, or is it the Cavaliers that are going to play the Knicks, who are just sitting back in their rocking chair right now? What's the spread line on this Friday game for you, Joe?
Well, the problem is here, I don't know what changes. I mean, this is a terrible spot here for Detroit, given the fact that they blew a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter there and had an opportunity to really get a leg up in this series. And instead of playing to win it, now they're trying to save their playoff lives here. And I just don't know that they have enough offense to get it done. Tobias Harris, the regression has started here. Jalen Duren, Austin Thompson, they're getting run off the court here. They can't. Cade Cunningham can't do it alone. And by the way, the Cavs have finally figured it out offensively, and they have not lost at home yet. So I don't know how well this is going to go for Detroit. I think whenever you have a team, Donnie, in a spot like this where the best chance you have is the other team shooting themselves in the foot, it likely won't go well. I don't see this number climbing either for a total. I think it might keep going down because the market is not a big believer in the offense of Detroit, and they're going to have to score to win this game, and it doesn't sound like the market believes there's going to be a whole lot of scoring here.
Exactly. If you're the Pistons, what do you like most about this game? Maybe James Harden goes back to bad playoff James Harden in Game 6 and Game 7. It gives you a chance to get it to game number 7. But that's game number 1 tonight, 7 p.m. Game number 2, 9:30 p.m. Eastern out there in Minnesota. San Antonio Spurs come to town. This also is a Game 6. The favorite in this game, it is the Spurs. Why? If they win, they close out the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's Spurs, OKC, exactly what we wanted in the Western Conference Final. This line, Joe, opened up at 4.5. You see that graphic? It's still at 4.5, but most outlets now, as of live, Joe, 5.5 across the board as a favorite towards the Spurs. The total in this game opened up 218.5, still sits at every outlet now that I'm looking at 218.5. Spurs looking to close out the T-Wolves in Minnesota tonight, Joe. What's your spread line here?
Spurs are getting absolutely steamed here overnight. Yeah. The money keeps rolling in. It even hit 6 in a couple of spots here, Donnie, and it looks like it's starting to come back now. So a lot of money overnight coming in on the Spurs. And listen, if you're still of the mindset, and Minnesota's been feisty, let's face it, right? They've already won 2 games in this series that nobody thought they should have. And they're also the more experienced team. You know, they say the hardest game in a series to win is the closeout game. And you've got an inexperienced Spurs team that now has to go on a road in Game 6 and beat a very experienced Minnesota team to close them out. Easier said than done. I get that the Spurs are deeper, but my goodness, you know what it is? It's like that, you know, the old Grizzly boxer there that you're gonna have to step on him. You're gonna have to knock him out to beat him. And I think that's what the Spurs are gonna have to do tonight if they're gonna close this series out.
WNBA on a Friday night, Joe. 4 games tonight, 2 at 7:30, 2 at 10 o'clock. Nice little doubleheader there for the networks. But the focus is going to be on the Indiana Fever at home. 7:30 tip time. Washington Mystics in town here. This game overnight at a lot of outlets sat at 8.5, Joe. But now we're seeing across the board those 9.5s starting to creep in. The total in this one, sort of a mismatch here. 176.5 at FanDuel, now down to 169.5. That's an interesting line drop at that, but let's call it 169.5 to 170.5. The Fever at home, and only about 20% of the tickets coming in on the Fever here tonight, Joe. Mystics Fever, what are we looking for as a spread line tonight?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because, I mean, they both are 1-1 here. I mean, obviously, we know the Fever at home can certainly bring it. The total, I think, is also interesting, but they've been shooting, but Caitlin Clark hasn't been great yet. So I still think she's trying to find her shot, trying to find a groove, trying to get back into a rhythm here. And the Mystics, they don't do a lot well, but they certainly can play some defense here. So If you like the Fever, you probably like the over. But I think there's just so much overreaction early in the WNBA season on totals, Donnie, that they're going to keep betting this total up. And I think I'm going to be going the other way here tonight.
Slipping away here on their season, that's the Los Angeles Angels. But how about tonight, Joe? Crosstown rivalry, I guess. I don't know. It's a rivalry anymore. Dodgers taking on the Angels here. Snell going up against Kohanowitz. And, of course, that line is going to be high, Joe. Overnight, those numbers, minus 220 price. We're now seeing live as high as minus 240s here in the business. A total listed at 9. Dodgers, heavy favorite, going down to Orange County to take on those Angels.
Yeah, let's just say that the Dodgers already won this one. Can we go to Saturday's game? No, I do not give the Angels a puncher's chance in this one. Even though the Dodgers, although they did right the ship here a little bit, a couple of back-to-back wins there against the Giants after losing the first two, but I do like the Dodgers to win this one. And this is, I think we can go back to the laying the 1.5 with the Dodgers here now, Donnie.
Back, and also, you like to lay that 1.5 on the road. Tack them on in the top of the 9th. Hey, tie game, so what? Score 3 and cover that run line here. Keep an eye on the West Coast. San Diego on the road to take on Seattle, with Seattle just still under 500 on this 2026 Major League Baseball season. Vasquez taking on Hancock, and the favorite here, of course, it's going to be the Seattle Mariners. A low total here, too, Joe. 7s to 7.5s across the board, depending on where you're shopping at. What are we looking at tonight, Padres Mariners?
Listen, Emerson Hancock's been very, very good this year. Really, really good. Shocker, when you go to Seattle, usually pitchers do actually get a little bit better. It's a tough ballpark for hitters here. And I don't like this Padres offense at all, Donnie. Don't trust them. Vasquez has actually done pretty well also this year. It feels like, we're going to have another pitcher's battle. But the bullpens are both lights out here. I think the under is the right call.
Full slate today in the Major League Baseball card. We'll get to that and much more news and notes coming up on the NBA. There's a team out there, Joe. They're lying to you. More likely, they're lying to me. Find out who that is. Who was that team lying to you out there, DRS, huh? Well, maybe it is in the city of Philadelphia, which is hosting the PGA Championship here out there in Newtown Square. But the Philadelphia 76ers are busy with their front office. We're going to start here. Daryl Morey is out. And now we had a press conference yesterday. Let's go to it.
Tuesday was a difficult day for me. I consider Daryl Morey a friend, and he did a lot of positive things for our franchise. We made the playoffs 5 of 6 years, including the conference semifinals 4 of those seasons. Obviously, we drafted Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, great players, core players. And over the next 7 years, we have 7 first-round draft picks and 12 second-round picks. I wish Daryl and his family the best. As we move forward, Bob Myers will oversee basketball and run the process to identify a new day-to-day leader. Bob is someone I've known for a long time. We have a great relationship. I've had the privilege of working with him over the last few years as president of HBSE Sports. His credentials speak for themselves: 4 NBA championships, 2 NBA Executive of the Year awards, and he's universally respected across the sports industry. I very much look forward to Bob, the new day-to-day head of basketball operations, whoever that is, and Nick Nurse, to be leading our front office and coaching staff next year. To our fans, I want you to know no one's more frustrated than me that we haven't achieved our goals. I care deeply for the city and the team. I acknowledge how disappointing it is that we have not made it past the second round of the playoffs. We owe it to you and the city to be better. Thank you deeply for your support.
That's Josh Harris, managing partner of the Philadelphia 76ers and also of the New Jersey Devils and also of the Washington Commanders. The reason I bring that up is here, if you had an owner of a franchise, let's just say Jeffrey Lurie, did you ever see him come up to the podium and have a laundry list that he had to write down where he's such good friends with Bob Myers that he has to read the accolades of Bob Myers as opposed to just ripping him off the top? It's like, yeah, dude was a great GM there at the Golden State, 4 championships here. He had to read that off of a piece of paper. That's because he's not invested in this team. Now, Joe, as we saw that yesterday, which, again, Bob Myers is a good executive, and that's not a bad pivot point from Daryl Morey. It's not going to be the general manager, but somebody's running the organization that has some championship chops and have seen really good teams and how to build them. That's pretty good. But right behind that, during that press conference show, quote, the front office has the green light to go over the luxury tax. There's no issue with the luxury tax. They legitimately sold a rookie of the year to duck a tax instead of helping their basketball team in the playoffs this year. So if I'm Daryl Morey, I'm like, well, hold on. You told me I couldn't go out and spend. Now you fire me because we couldn't achieve. And Bob Myers now is like, hey, man, open checkbook, let's go. That doesn't make sense. And that's a flat out lie.
Well, you're right, Donnie. Which is it? And why is this guy at the mic speaking for longer than 30 seconds? That whiny voice it gives me. I'm breaking out in hives here listening to him. But what is it, Donnie? If you want to win, then you're fully committed to winning, right? So, and you're right. If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm going to be like, wait a minute, did I just hear that correct? You're telling me no problem, open checkbook now. I could, if you gave me the open checkbook, I could have went and spent too, Donnie. It would have been a problem. But exactly. You kind of told me I wasn't allowed to do it. So something else going on here, Donnie, with this organization.
You just don't lie. Just don't. Hey, look, there was a lot of money. If he would have came straight out and goes, you know what, this team we didn't actually think could win a championship. We wanted to have fun and compete, but I'm not spending an extra $30 million on a luxury tax when we can't compete. I'm like, whoa, you know what? That's refreshing right there. But don't come out and lie to the Philadelphia 76ers fans. They're not going to deal with it because they told you they're not by selling their tickets in Games 3 and Game 4 at home to embarrass you as the owner. But how embarrassed was the owner? Because money is money. They made money, and so be it. That's what they're about. Let's get to other topics here, Joe. Go out to the West Coast. Look, I don't need to rain on people's parade because sometimes you do things and you deserve accolades. If I show up to Crypto.com Arena with a kid, let's just say my son is 5 years old. I don't even have a son. Just being facetious right now. Dad, that's Shaquille's statue. Yeah, that is. Dad, that's Kobe right there. That's Kobe. Magic Johnson statue. Dad, what's this statue right here? Let me read it to you. It says it's Lisa Leslie. Well, she's going to get a statue outside of Crypto.com Arena. Maybe she deserves it, I guess. But when you're supposed to get statues, Joe, where you understand what that statue is about, some people are going to point to that statue and be like, who's that?
She absolutely deserves the statue, first and foremost. She's one of the all-time legends here in the WNBA. Just because they screwed it up and had no idea how to be able to promote it early on doesn't mean she didn't deserve it. She absolutely deserves it.
Now, you show up the bell works, there should be a statue of your boy DRS out in front of that. Nobody's saying who's that. Nobody. And Joe, I like to equate it sometimes to fandom from where I'm from in Philadelphia. And we're going to use that Philadelphia and Detroit here, two great sports towns. Alec Bohm in Philadelphia is in a free agent year. You want to put away the best possible season that you can have in order to make more money. A lot of pressure's on you. Play your cards right, have a good season. You're going to make infinite amount of money here. Not having a good season for Alec Bohm. Jalen Duren did have a really good season. It's like, man, this guy's really going to cash in. Here's a tweet from the Athletic NBA. Jalen Duren's scoring fall-off in this year's playoffs is the second largest in NBA history for an All-Star. The only All-Star to have a larger drop, minimum 10 games played, is Wilt Chamberlain in 1962, who went from 50 to 35 in the playoffs. He was averaging close to 20, Joe. Now he's in half. When the lights are the brightest and the games matter the most, where is he?
But that's this whole offense with Detroit, right? I mean, his whole thing was, Donnie, throughout the season, you know, that's the problem with the regular season, right? It gives you this false sense of security, like, oh, he's going to be good for 20. Well, not when he plays a physical Orlando Magic team and all of a sudden he can't get every, offensive rebound, every easy dunk. Like, what? Yeah, no, that's not how it works in the postseason. He's not getting any of those easy shots, those easy buckets that he got all regular season long. And look what's happening now. Even he thought he was good just by showing up for 20 a night. It ain't happening anymore. Not in the playoffs, and not with these two back-to-back defensive teams here that are very physical and can limit those easy dunks for him.
Game 6 tonight, Joe. Should be a good one to watch it play out. The Cleveland Cavaliers at home. They win. They advance to take on the New York Knicks. They're favored between 3.5s to 4s, depending where you're shopping at. And that total you see at 209.5. Let's flip it over and talk some Major League Baseball. And yesterday, you had a good old friend there, Ranger Suarez, on the mound, taking on those Philadelphia Phillies. Let's hear from Kyle Schwarber on facing Ranger Suarez.
What was it like facing Ranger and what made him so effective?
Yeah, I mean, he's a unique guy where he's got so many different weapons in the arsenal. And he has a really good idea of what he wants to do to you. Every single hitter. Obviously we know that the sinker changeup's a big pitch for him, but the cutter's underrated, the four-seam, curveball. He plays a lot of different things off every single different pitch, and he's competitive with a lot of pitches. And I think that's why he's always going to be a guy that it doesn't matter how hard you throw, he's always going to find a way to get weak contact and outs.
Schwarbs hit his 18th home run yesterday. Wasn't off of Ranger Suarez, but as we build that game yesterday, dancing between the rain, had to wait out a little bit of a rain delay to start that game, Joe. You look at the statistics. Luzardo, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, and 4 strikeouts through 92 pitches. Look at Ranger Suarez, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts here, only 76 pitches. Those two guys went toe-to-toe, and nobody even scored, Joe, until the 8th inning in this game where the Phillies played at 3 runs, gave up 1 in the bottom of the inning, and ended up winning 3-1 there. Another series win for those Philadelphia Phillies as we move on. Now, Joe, there's always arguments. Hey, public transportation, easier to get to the game, or is it better to drive? Dodger Stadium, as we know, we were in Los Angeles for the Super Bowl a couple years back. All I want to do is get a glimpse of Dodger Stadium. And the cab driver drive by, yeah, Dodger Stadium's right there. I'm like, where? It's up that hill, buddy. Can't see it here. So in order to get there, it is a logistical nightmare. Once you get there, you can park. But Joe, we all watch and hear the stories about Los Angeles Dodgers baseball. You tell me this game's sold out. It's the 3rd inning. Nobody's here. All right, they finally got in the stadium. It's the 8th inning. It's a 2-1 game. Where's everybody going? Well, they got to get home here. Impossible to get in. Impossible to get out. Even though there's all that parking, Joe, how do you get down from the mountain?
Yeah, Ches Ravine, right? A classic. Been like that forever, Donnie.
Yeah.
And you'd think people would pitch a tent and just stay overnight there and not have to deal with it. But nope. It's why you always see the biggest joke with people who go to Dodger games is like, hopefully we get there by the 4th inning so we can leave by the 5th. Because otherwise we can't get out. We're going to be spend 9 hours in the car to go watch an hour worth of baseball. It's hilarious.
Then pay through the nose to absolutely get there, and then sit in more traffic once you get outside of the parking lots on your way down from Chavez Ravine. Is what it is here. How about Paul Skeens? We know this guy's dominant. But how about this, Joe? It's been over a month since Paul Skeens has given up a walk. Pittsburgh ace is nearly halfway to passing Greg Maddox's National League record, 77.1, for most consecutive innings pitched without a walk. Sometimes, Joe, we live up to the hype and arm injuries, and maybe he'll get it together. It seems like he never has a bad night. He's absolutely filthy, and not only just a power strikeout pitcher, but an accurate power strikeout pitcher.
I'd like to bring everyone's attention back to when he didn't make it out of the 1st inning against the Mets in that
Season's
first
over,
game.
right?
Just saying. I'm just saying, it was all over for him. Remember his ERA was, 67, I think, coming out of that?
Higher.
What is it now? What is it now? Yeah, exactly. The guy is just, give him the Cy Young. Although Ohtani's going to give him a run here this year for the Cy Young because Ohtani can't hit. But it's, I think we're seeing, is it a Roger Clemens-esque? Is that the path we're seeing here, Donnie?
On Kalshi and Poly Market, Joe, were they selling their positions that he's terrible? I knew he was going to be a slump this year. The guy's as filthy as usual. By the way, the Pirates still above 500 here on the season. Maybe a playoff run for Paul Skeens and the boys. We'll find out. One of the more interesting numbers that we saw coming into the season. Joe and I said, let me get this straight here. Books aren't stupid. This guy hit 60 home runs last year. We're talking about Cal Raleigh and saying, why is his numbers in the 30s right now? What's the drop-off? It can't be. He's going to at least hit 50, Joe. This guy's lucky to play 50 games apparently now because not only is he struggling at the plate, but now injured as well. And we all know when you talk about power bats at the plate, Joe, the last thing you want is an oblique strain. Oh, boy, Cal Raleigh heads to the IL.
Yeah, and Lindor, by the way, is on his way back. Yeah, but also, there you go. He's on the injured list here.
Yeah.
And you know what, Donnie? This has happened in years past with guys. All of a sudden, they come up with an injury just to give them a mental break because he has still been in the cleanup spot. Seattle hadn't moved him. I mean, he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But they kept putting him in there, and they didn't move him down. They didn't try to get I think this is the more of a mental break than an oblique strain at this point.
How about Joe? We got tripped up yesterday. We came into yesterday's show 6-0 in the week. I'm like, you know what? A really good spot here is with the Kansas City Royals. They should win and they should score some runs. Felt good early on, 1-0 in the first inning. I'm like, all right, let's get some more runs on the board. They did, but it was only one more run on the board, and they got beat by the White Sox, who now have a 5-game winning streak after sweeping the Royals. How about that?
Yeah, the Royals are officially on the absolutely not list from this point forward here. They are just terrible, Donnie. I mean, Bubic got lit up there early, had a couple of bad innings. They made Anthony Kay look like he's a Cy Young Award winner. Not a good team. And this was a Royals team, don't forget, that everyone thought, man, wait, they could contend with the Tiger. The Central's going to be. No, they're terrible.
How about Juan Soto here, talking about some of the young pups there on the Mets with Benj and Ewing.
You're under contract for a long time. Do you feel encouraged about Benj, Ewing, McLean, those young players in here?
Yeah, I'm really excited for them. You know, that's one of the things that we looked up when we signed here to see how great is the first season and how much talent they have down there. And now get to see it live. It's really cool to see.
Hold on, Joe. Like, sometimes we got to stop the madness here. And I know we're not much longer in this segment, so I'll be short here. Juan Soto, I'm going to say right now, had no idea who was playing for the Mets or in their farm system when he signed with the Mets. Can we get that out of the way?
Oh, no, I'm sure it was a big reason as to why he signed the $700 trillion contract that the Mets get. I'm sure he did all his homework, Donnie. He absolutely knew who he might be playing with over the next 5 to 10 years. Absolutely, yes.
So Uncle Steve, get the checkbook out, because the only reason why Soto came is because the best players in the history of farm system baseball is Benj and Ewing. Those look like they're going to be billion-dollar players as well. Boy, these guys lie straight through their teeth. We don't here. We give you the truth, and we'll give you more next. Get your hockey on. You saw 2 games yesterday. You saw one team close out to advance to the Western Conference Finals. You saw another team take a commanding 3-2 lead before heading back to Montreal. But also, Joe, news and notes and business around the NHL. The Canucks, do you remember Heinrich and Daniel Sedin back in the day? Inseparable on the ice. Now, inseparable off the ice as well. By the way, the Canucks have promoted them to co-presidents of hockey operations. I got questions, Joe. Like, if you're in Vancouver, you just hired 2 guys. Is that double the salary? Or, no, they're twins. They just split one salary, and that's the way they do it?
That's a good question, Donnie, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? And how do you know who's who? Like, can you really, can you tell them apart, like, who's getting what? Are you paying one more than the other, I wonder? How does that work, Donnie, exactly?
And by the way, like the whole twins thing as well. Like, I don't care if you're a parent. Like, you know little differences between the kids, but you can't tell me when they're just like coming into your room where you catch them out of the side of your eye, like who's who at this point now. Oh, we always know. No, you don't. Twins out there on the ice, they were really good for Vancouver. Maybe they can equal that once they get into the front office. Let's take a look at their press conference here, Joe, introducing them.
I want to thank ownership Francesco and Roberto Aquilini for this incredible opportunity. When they came to us with their vision and the plan for the next upcoming years, we got very excited. We spent 26 years in this amazing city. We were drafted in 1999 and played 17 unforgettable seasons alongside some of our best friends, teammates and staff. In 2018, we became part of the very spirited fan base in the city. We were fans for 3 years before we came back in a management role. We then turned into player development, we're part of a little bit of scouting, coaching, so we've seen a lot of different aspects of this organization. Every successful team we've been a part of had values, cornerstones that could answer one question: why are we here and what do we stand for? 3 words that we will live by: connected, committed, and purpose. We want to reestablish the connection from top to bottom within this organization, but also in the community, to this fan base, and to the city of Vancouver and the province of BC. And we have a clear vision that will connect us to be sustainable winning culture. To be a Vancouver Canuck, you must be fiercely committed to making this one of the world's leading organizations. We expect everyone to be committed to leaving this organization better than they found it. Everything we do, we will operate with intent every day. And that purpose will form people to excel under pressure.
There's a lot to get to in that press conference. Like in today's day and age, it's AI. It's the same person right there. Same exact haircut, a little bit difference, I guess, on the tie. But there are always questions for me, like they're in the front office. Like, hey, you know, one of the twins comes through the door and you're a player. Like, you don't know who that guy is. Like, they look the same coming through the door. I think that's hilarious. But the best part about this entire press conference, Joe, twin telepathy is right. They know exactly when their sentence ends and when to begin the next sentence here. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Donnie, I mean, and the same suit. Like, I mean, What are we doing here? Like, I mean, were they purposely messing with us? Like, they've been like, let them figure it out on their own. Like, let's do it. And you would think, Donnie, I mean, when you're younger, it's one thing, but they age the same way as well, which is just crazy to me. Unreal.
Yeah, like change maybe a little bit longer hair on the other one. Hey, this guy, you know, Heinrich always wears the blue suit. The other one always wears the black suit at this point here. That's pretty good, where they can get in those end of the year meetings. Like, who am I actually talking to right now at this point? Pretty good stuff as it is. Jaromir Jagr, the statistics speak for themselves. This guy played forever and is probably still playing somewhere overseas. But how about this? Sportsnet with a tweet, barring injury, for the 46th consecutive season, a former teammate of Jagr will appear in the Stanley Cup final. Now, hear me out on this. You might say, like, yeah, maybe a player in the league that he played against. No. A teammate, Joe. 46 straight years.
That's crazy. I think him and Yasiel Puig, right, are going to try and set records for the most teammates ever in the history of any sport that they've ever had. Just crazy to me. But listen, we always said Jagr could probably play till as long as he wants to. Ovechkin, I think we all think is that they're all built differently, like those guys. They really are.
They are. We'll talk about built differently here. Maybe it's those Montreal Canadiens. The last time a team from Canada won the Stanley Cup, it was And it was the Canadiens in the early 1990s. Well, they're trying to get one step closer to doing it again. They beat the Sabres last night on the Sabres home ice, 6-3. The building was rocking. 5 total goals scored in the first period. The Sabres had the lead. And then 4 straight goals by the Canadiens to win that game 6-3, taking the life, Joe, out of the building. Let's go right to that press conference there.
This will be your first Saturday night in the playoffs at home. We've talked about the atmosphere there before, but you've got a chance to put these guys away. How important is that you take advantage of that, and how nuts do you think the city's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, the city's already pretty crazy, and we saw against Tampa, it takes a lot to close out a team, and we have another opportunity to do that, and I'm sure the crowd's going to be into it hours before the game starts, and it's going to be rocking. So we're ready for that. Excited for the opportunity to close it out.
Joe, it's going to be rocking up there in the Bell Center here. Canadians ready to go.
They got to finish it, though, right, Donnie? A couple teams there, not a lot of experience. The problem is they've got Carolina waiting for them, and, yeah, they look like an absolute machine. But it's been a great run. I mean, Montreal Canadiens, Donnie, one of the, true blue bloods of the NHL, right? I mean, the history is absurd. And the fact that they are even in this spot, you cannot be happier for Canadian fans who have had nothing to be happy about for a very, very, very long time. But you got to finish the job here.
Let's have that Don'ts here, trying to get busy and get back to a Stanley Cup final. Maybe they can do it. By the way, Joe, I'm not really a bettor in the NHL, but Carolina's at home. This series goes 7. Carolina might dog walk them in game number 1, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. It's amazing how long Carolina seems like they're going to be off. Other game, Joe, Golden Knights 5-1 over the Ducks, blasted them from the jump, moving on.
Yeah, that was it. We liked Vegas. We thought there was great value in Vegas, but are they going to take down Colorado is the question.
Tortorella, what's he doing out there, Joe? Impressive stuff. We'll be back after this short break. Joe, we always talk about, like, you know what, which way can you invest your money in the predictive markets here? New ways to get down, new ways to introduce businesses here. But how about in the NIL, which was supposed to be, hey, kid, come on our campus. If you find a job out here where somebody's going to make a poster or you sign a couple autographs, get some free burritos and pizza, good for you. Or maybe even a Dodge Challenger here that you can drive around campus just so you show up once every Saturday during football season to the local car dealership. Oh, we're getting creative now, Joe. On 3 tweets, Vanderbilt true freshman quarterback Jared Curtis is appearing in Nate Bargatze's new movie, The Breadwinner, as part of his NIL deal with the Commodores. Hey, kid, we'll put you in movies. You come here.
Yeah, they are really reaching here. Like, you're promising guy like, like roles in a movie, commercials. Like, what in the, 18 years old, 17 years old? What is it, Donnie, here now? I mean, freshman. How many games does he won in college? Yeah, like, how many games is he? None? Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's put him in a movie then, because he's accomplished absolutely nothing.
When you think football, Joe, you think Northwestern here. How about this? A 2,000-seat student Wildcat wall behind the end zone of their $862 million stadium, modeled after European soccer support sections here. So does that mean, like, hey, it's Saturday, are they going to all bring up their books to study, like the calculus questions got to get answered and, just have a good time? Or is that wall going to absolutely rock it? Because the one thing I don't think of this year is Northwestern spending almost $1 billion on a football stadium. I guess they got a lot of money.
Yeah, they do, but but hey, listen, at this point, if it goes to 24 teams, they have just as good a shot winning 6 games and making the playoffs. So why not? Donnie, any edge you can give them, why not at this point?
Come on.
Should be great.
Bring back Fitzgerald. Let's get back to the primetime days of Darnell Autry and the boys back then, making some runs at some Rose Bowls. Could happen here. But Micah Parsons, candidate for the PUP list, Joe, which means he might not be ready to start the season. And quite frankly, you tear your ACL mid-December, going to be tough to get back. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, though, he should have got that surgery done, whatever Micah Parsons got, because Patrick Mahomes, he's ready to go apparently already.
Yeah, all the reports are like he is he's going to be ready to go, which is why the NFL waited as long as possible before announcing that Week 1 game there with the Broncos and the Chiefs. But listen, if I'm Micah Parsons, slow down, Green Bay. Like, give him a chance to recover. The schedule came out. They do have some breathing room here. The schedule isn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. So, let's get Micah Parsons 100%. Because I don't even think he was 100% to start last year either. I'm shocked he made it as long as he did.
That's it. Getting back in that Packers lineup here. The NFL goes, we're not looking into any appropriate or non-appropriate jokes that might pop up on our schedule release. How about this? Between Mike Vrabel and also Diana Rossini. The league is letting teams use their own judgment, Joe, which some of them use that judgment.
Well, they did. The Chargers certainly did, because they certainly took a shot there at Rossini and Vrabel, and why not? I mean, it's all good fun. Listen, you're going to throw yourself out there like that, and boy, were they thrown out there like that, then yes, why not? Donnie, all in good fun.
And it looks at, what is it, the Vikings at the Patriots here, cooking up some cookies here. What do you got to include in there? I don't know, Joe. 1 teaspoon of Rossini juice, and away you go there. So some teams were poking fun. Some teams were having fun with a lot of different things. Other teams, Joe, going to celebrate the new year in different ways. How about this? The Bengals will host the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. Just so happens, Joe, that's New Year's Eve.
That's amazing. Isn't that great, Donnie? Yeah. Don't you just love how that works there? It's again, most of that yesterday when it all came out with half of it, I felt like we already knew was coming. So this has got to be the worst. The leaking, the NFL doesn't want you doing anything at the draft, but yet we know the entire schedule before we get to the schedule release. Like, make up your mind. Which one is it there, NFL?
Jaden Daniels, Mr. Hurts, hello, opening day at Lincoln Financial Field, Joe. Commanders and the Eagles, and also going to be the Cowboys and the Giants. Week number 1, NFC East Fest, baby. Like to see it. Smash.
Wow, shocker. A divisional matchup week 1. Who'd have thunk it? I mean, just the worst. Of course, they're going to be fine. That's how they've been doing it too, Donnie. You get a couple of divisional rivalries early on in the season, and then you play a bunch of nobodies afterwards.
Two teams that hate each other also, Joe. Packers, Bears, rivalry on Netflix will be on Christmas Day. Open up all your presents, have some fun, and get after it because the NFL, not the NBA, rules Christmas Day. We rule hour number 2 next, right here on the Grid. Let's do it. Hour number 2 on a Friday. Who says no? Certainly not these two guys, Donnie Rightside and Joe Raineri, SportsGrid Network. Early line, getting you ready for the weekend, and a massive weekend it is. Playoffs across the board. Major League Baseball, WNBA, the PGA Championship Day number 2, 3, and 4, as well as maybe you want to watch the Preakness, but there's no Triple Crowns. What's the point of the Preakness at this point? They better change up the way they do business, or they might just fade into obscurity here. But, Joe, we got damage to be done here, and we will do that said damage here in hour number 2.
Got a lot of damage going on here. Maybe none more so than on the PGA Championship right now. I think Rory's already in the weeds here off the tee. Scotty Scheffler's coming up a little bit later this hour. And, yeah, Donnie, of all the guys on the course, we're not seeing a whole lot of it. It looks very cold in those parts by you there right now.
Chilly.
A lot of wind, guys bundled up here. What's going on there?
By the way, let me get out my handy dandy or should I say weather tool. Because, Joe, today is a high of 69 degrees, but it is chilly temperatures this morning. Tomorrow, Joe, I'm saying 82 degrees, Sunday 89 degrees. So we'll start to heat up this weekend there in Newtown Square, getting ready for the boys, which means sometimes we see golfers show up randomly out of nowhere and try to chase down success. Martin Keimer's last top 10 finish in a major was a decade ago, which was 2016, also at the PGA, where he finds himself right now in a tie for first place at 3 under. Let's hear from Keimer.
Martin, how would you assess this season coming into this week? Did you feel like you know you were going to come here and get off to such a good start?
I've been playing well the last 2-3 events out on live, but I didn't have good results, but I was playing well. And I knew I find more consistency, and I really enjoy playing this golf course. Monday, Tuesday, I had so much fun on the golf course. I think it really suits my eye. It's a very fair test, great for the PGA Championship. But I tell you a funny story. On Tuesday evening, we had the Champions Dinner, and there was a gentleman sitting next to me from the PGA of America, and he asked me if I would be, if I still play. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, are you playing this week?" I said, "Yeah, that's why I'm here, and I'm not flying from Europe to here to have a New York strip with you guys. Of course I'm playing," and that really motivated me. So it was a good start to the week. Again, I really enjoy a Romney golf course. It's fun to play, and I look forward to hopefully have another 3 good days.
By the way, sometimes you'll like to poke fun, but I'm being that is a real topic that he had, because I read the quote, and I've watched golf for decades now at this point. I had to go to his bio and be like, oh my goodness, he actually won 2 majors. I'm telling you right now, tell me, Martin Keimer, how many majors? Does he play? Has he ever won? He actually has 2 majors under his belt, which is funny, where he shows up to the Champions Dinner at the PGA and is getting asked by other champions, are you playing this week here? That's pretty good stuff here. That's motivation right there.
I remember he had a stretch, Donnie, of around, there was about a 4 or 5 year stretch where he was unbelievable. He won the Masters, which was just, one of the best ball strikers. And he had the putter rolling. By the way, he missed about a 6-footer for par here on the second hole, so he did just drop a shot. But he, I got to tell you, Donnie, it's amazing. It's one of those guys where, if I ran him over in the street, I'd have no idea who he is. Well, he's a 2-time major winner. So, he's still playing. Unbelievable.
Theoretically, over your career, you might be able to stumble into one that we just don't remember that. But the dude won 2 of them here, so that's pretty impressive. In the lead, it's Martin Keimer's in the lead. Well, he's never won anything. No, the guy actually won this tournament before, so maybe the pressure won't get to him. We'll see how he finishes off this weekend with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on deck here. Let's get to some of those hot topics, Joe, in the early lineup, which includes your New York Jets facing your former coach and Robert Saleh. Ooh, bad vibes out there, but I guess somebody has to get a win or at least a tie out of this.
Tennessee, you can get it. It's all yours. Like Robert Saleh, liked him a lot. Thought he got the absolute shaft like everybody else that comes and works for the New York Jets. We are officially rooting for the tank job for the Jets this year. So Tennessee, turnaround has begun. It's all yours. Go ahead, win it 42-0 for all I care in week 1.
Aldrich Potgieter. He's actually -3, Joe, which means he's in the lead at the PGA Championship, tied with a host of other golfers here. You get through Friday and moving day and the weekend and Championship Sunday. But you got some names that maybe you're not familiar with, and also some names you are.
There are, and really, most of the guys that are on that top of that list, a lot of them are getting ready to tee off right now here, including Scotty Scheffler in about 20, 30 minutes, 8:40, I think, a.m. is when they're going to be teeing it off here. But, the way this wind is blowing, Donnie, they're calling for wind gusts up to 25, 30 miles an hour. These guys are dressed like it's like they're freezing, blowing in their hands and everything else. We might get... I don't know how many under par scores we're getting here today, so might have to wait until that weather warms up over the weekend.
Teeing off, Joe, in about 48 hours. Could that be those Buffalo Sabres getting ready on a Sunday morning for their offseason? Could be why the Canadiens went into Buffalo and dismantled the Sabres 6-3, Joe, to take that series lead.
One of the wildest games I've seen. The start to the game, within the first, 5-6 minutes, it's a 3-2 game, and I'm going, what? Where are they just hit? Are goalies playing? Is this what is going on here right now? But it settled down a little bit, except for the fact that it got worse for the Buffalo goaltending. At least for Montreal, they steadied the ship here. But that Buffalo's going to have its work cut out for them. That's for sure.
Disney gouges you at the parks, Joe. Now they're going to gouge you to watch a football game. Massive rights here to buy ads, but they're coming down a little bit, Joe. As we said, you can ask for whatever you want, but the market's going to dictate what you get.
The market's always battling to spend, $19 million on a 30-second commercial nobody ever remembers. It's just amazing to me, Donnie. I do think, though, you're right. The market will set the price, and likely the market will overpay for all of it.
Man, imagine showing up to your job where you've got to win golf tour, and it's like, hey, buddy, you're going to start 2 strokes behind every single player in this field. Why? Don't show up late, even by a minute. Garrick Higo, 2-stroke penalty, tardiness.
Yeah, listening to him explain it, too, was actually quite funny. But, yeah, at least Scottie Scheffler got arrested. We knew why he didn't show up at the PGA Championship in Kentucky, right? So I don't know. His excuse is not cutting it there after Scottie Scheffler missed it.
And by the way, didn't he get arrested and still show up for his tee time as well? Man, now that's pretty impressive and dedication. But the fact that you say, it's not my job to get here 10 minutes early. No, literally, it is your job to get there early to the tee box to make sure. That's correct. It's not my job to get here on my flight 10 minutes early. I'll get here right when the thing's leaving. No, you're going to miss that flight at this point now. Chris, don't call me Chuck Knobloch, fired as the Oilers head coach. His extension didn't even start yet, and he's out the door, Joe.
Yeah, because he was the savior originally. Don't forget when he took the job there a couple of years ago. Then he couldn't beat Florida. Now all of a sudden he's got to go because as if he's the one who chose the goaltender in that organization.
Exactly. How about this FIFA World Cup? They're issuing heat warnings. What are they saying? Like, hey, in a month we already know how hot it's going to be in a certain city at this point right now. Serious heat illness, Joe. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
As opposed to where any of the South American teams play, what are you talking about? Give them some free fans, Donnie.
Yeah.
Give people some free fans. There you go. When you walk in at $10,000 a ticket.
Brazil, the players from Brazil, they're apparently, if it's 80 degrees, they're going to melt on the field. There's no way those kids can compete. Argentina, freezing there all year long. Just the way it goes down. Kevin Walsh comes up next. Hot topics on the way. Let's get after them. We'll see you then. Friday, no better place to be than on the SportsGrid Network for another edition and excitement here that we have on the early lines. DRS, it's Joe Raineri. It's Kevin Walsh on a Friday. There's no reason to watch the network the rest of the day. You get Kevin right here, right now. Or wait a second.
No.
Kevin actually comes back on 6 p.m. tonight. You give him a slap, and then you give him a pat on the back. That's how we get down to business in the morning, Kevin.
Right,
you should know this.
Yep, nope, got me there. Although I'm pretty sure one time you've done that, but without the slap on the back. I think you're like, all right, guys, here he is. All you need. We got Kate up for 10. Let's run it. So fair enough. Excited to be here.
All right, let's have some fun because yesterday we're going to get to the NBA action. A doubleheader on the card. Big stakes. Absolutely fun time. 7 o'clock and 9:30 tonight. But the NFL yesterday, you are the professional football team here on the network along with Joe Lisi.
Yeah.
They're playing, it feels like, we get those tweets. I was like, you're going to get football for 38 straight nights here between college and the NFL. I feel like the NFL is going to start in September. And it's like, you're going to get 98 straight days of NFL football. Good luck to the boys of the network that will be live for those games, Kevin. How do you feel about that?
I'm not worried about, being live for the game because it's not possible unless they're going to glue me to the chair. Guys, it's too much. And everybody knows it. The thing is, I've been saying it for a little bit now, but we are at the point where it will become the consensus opinion. I'm actually now starting to wonder if we will actually get the 18th game because the blowback they're going to get from just how, unless they snuck it by me. Are there 18 games this year? Because sometimes I feel like I can't keep, maybe they'll just tack it on in the middle of the season like they did the Monday Night Wild Card a couple of years back. The NFL season begins on a Wednesday. It's terrible. It's absolutely listen, sometimes leagues sneak up on us. The NFL is never supposed to be that. I'm pretty sure I can set my watch. That Wednesday, I'll be right here with you two. And you're like, I got to tell you, Kev, could use a couple extra hours before an NFL season kicks off. Too bad. Here's Pat Seahawks for you.
Kind of laughable, it really. But don't worry about it. When they do get the 18th game, Kev, it'll be on some sort of subscription service that none of us are going to be able to watch it anyway.
Tubi.
So, speaking of terrible, let's talk about the Detroit Pistons offense because it is terrible. And Cleveland has seemed to have figured it out here. Shots are falling. When Max Strus is just lethal from the outside, everything seems to be going Cleveland's way. Yeah. They have not lost at home in the postseason. What happens? Is there a bounce back here for Detroit? Does this go 7 or is it over?
So I had not bet a side in this series through the first 5 games, but I knew before game 5, I was finally ready to zag by betting Detroit in this 6th game, regardless of what happened, because I wanted to be willing and able to grab a road team, but I wasn't going to start the Cavs win on the road trend. They did it in game number 5. It's a credit to James Harden for stepping up and somehow, I don't know, man. I know Donovan Mitchell's had a really good series, but it's like, hey, can Harden bring us home? It's like, really? That's sure, okay. But now, and I'm not even trying to be mean, right? But Joe, we've talked about this. Harden's probably going to be terrible tonight. And he'll certainly be terrible in a game 7 if there is a game 7. I like Detroit here. The only thing I will just say is I am going to stop saying, and maybe Jalen Duren does something. I will not be saying that anymore. There is no reason to believe Jalen Duren is going to do anything. He has, but perhaps actually proven people right that he's the 3rd best center on this bet. You'll never see someone cost themselves more money than Jalen Duren did this postseason.
Crazy.
It is crazy the way it checks out like that, too, Kevin. But we do got a doubleheader tonight, 7 o'clock and 9:30. The San Antonio Spurs taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, from an NBA perspective, they're licking their chops, man. You know what? Nobody get injured on the Spurs. Clinch this game. Let's move on. It's OKC San Antonio, just the way we like it. But there is a game to be played, and Minnesota is home. And they have surprised so far this postseason. 4.5s, Kevin, now turned to 5.5s, as Joe pointed out earlier in the show. Some 6s were in the marketplace. It looks like the Spurs are supposed to close them out, but only 20% of those tickets coming in on those Timberwolves at home. What are we seeing from the Spurs and the T-Wolves tonight?
Yeah, this feels like the Donnie best bet on Minnesota. This feels like the nobody wants Minnesota, give me Minnesota play, because, I mean, the San Antonio wins are loud right now. And we all know that there's still not a healthy Wolves team when we watch them play, when you just kind of check up on the injury report here. I, even myself, tempted by San Antonio, feel like it is like I should know better than wanting to bet the Spurs in a game like this. I may attack Anthony Edwards from beyond the arc, though. He has not had a breakout game from three really in this series, and he is usually good for one or two of those, I feel often. You could honestly argue he's not had a breakout game from beyond the arc in the whole postseason here. Again, obviously injuries impacted it a bit, but Ant is, I mean, it's not Steph Curry-esque, but we've seen Ant fill it up, right? 6, 7, 8 made threes in a game. I believe the first number tonight where you're like, oh, that's a minus 120, minus 125 is for 3 makes. Might go from there and onward on Ant trying to avoid elimination.
It just feels... Problem is, does Gobert start? I mean, if you're Finch, what are you doing here? Gobert is getting absolutely destroyed. Wembayama's beating him in 1,000,001 different ways. I think he's minus 17 when he's on the court. Where is Julius Randle? Does he exist? Like, it just feels like they're running out of gas, I think, is the best way to put it there, Kev.
Yeah, I think that's fair on those two guys. One, the best was Gobert played well in game 1. Minnesota got the win, and Jokic fans were like, maybe you owe Jokic an apology. Whoops. Delete those tweets. Julius Randle is very appreciative for the Jalen Duren postseason, is I think the way we can put it here, because Julius Randle, I'm sure you guys have noticed it. Like, at some point, he got blocked by Wemby and went, oh no. I'm not letting that happen anymore. Julius Randle's whole gimmick is like, I'm not scared. I will bulldoze anyone except for the 7'5" alien who's going to embarrass me. Let me pass it out for another corner 3 to Jaden McDaniel. Like, brother, shoot the layup, Julius. You could use a couple of free throws now.
Get your free throws in, people, and catch Game Time Decisions tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Kevin, enjoy your weekend. Let's have some fun. We'll continue next. Oh, yeah, the hits just keep on coming. The information flies in, and sometimes we like to rip some topics, Joe Raineri, which includes, we talk about NFL. Stop going overseas and importing your product. If they want it, they'll buy it. They'll come here and they'll watch the games. How about this tweet from Adam Crafton? Chelsea to announce a strategic partnership with Jay-Z's Rock Nation aimed at growing Chelsea's reach and cultural relevance in the United States with lifestyle, entertainment, and culture as a way to tempt younger fans. I don't know what Jay-Z has on some of these sports leagues here that just pay him money for stuff like this, but I don't think Chelsea needs help from Rock Nation to get into the 5 boroughs, let's just say, of New York, Joe.
No, they don't, Donnie, in any way, shape, or form. But that's not going to say, listen, more, right? It can't hurt, Donnie, but they don't need them in any way, shape, or form.
Now, here's an argument that we need to have, Joe. Montreal strippers plan to walk out for F1 weekend. What does this mean? Like, I didn't read the article. What are we fighting over right now? That F1's in town, you have to close all the strip clubs? What's the fight here? Do we know?
No, that's a great question, Donnie. Like, what is the problem here? What are we worried about? Like, have you been to an F1? Have you seen the people showing up at F1? Yeah, no. That you think FIFA charges a lot for a ticket? Try getting one for an F1 event, Donnie. Let me know how that works out.
Or is there like how again, FIFA comes to town, the F1 comes down, they go, okay, 20% surcharge on every table dance that you get right now. Like the VI, I want to go back to VIP in the champagne room. Well, we're gonna have to charge you the 25% F1 tax back here. Are they upset about that? That could be it.
That might be it, yeah, but I mean, getting absolutely overcharged and taking advantage. Shocker. I mean, that almost never, ask everyone in Vegas when they got F1. Yeah. How great was that? Did it work out well for you? Unreal.
Now, Joe, I'm not one to actually do any research on this. I have no idea, but everybody tells me that the songs that you get for the dances, they're never really full-length songs, are they?
No, they're always abbreviated or mixes of. I don't know, Donnie. I've heard. So I've heard. Yes. Although our boy Tommy there, our producer Tommy was he was a DJ in a club for a little while there. So, yeah.
Or one of these, Joe. It's like, hey, that was a good dance. What are you kidding me? That's 4 dances I'm charging you. Wait a second. I thought it was out.
Yeah.
It's got arguments I break out over the money, but it is what it is. But also, Toronto is giving thousands of World Cup fans free condoms this summer. Designs include what a finish, block those shots, and Canada.
Well, listen, I just don't run out like they did in the Olympics, apparently. We heard that, too. It was like, oops, sorry, shortage, bring your own, BYOR. Okay, it's good to go. Unreal.
All right, Joe. You ready to fade the public here? Let's get after it. Come on. All right, what catches your eye on today's sports slate here? And great sports weekend, as we talked about here, the PGA Championship, the NBA playoffs, the Subway Series, or the WNBA, who doesn't like to get a lot of votes, apparently, Joe. Tough scene for the WNBA, huh?
Yeah, it's early yet, though, Donnie. I mean, there are only a handful of games going on here, but I think that they'll be fine. They'll make a comeback here in a couple of months. But, I'm looking for all of it, Donnie, actually. It should be, except for the Preakness. I don't know any of these horses now because none of them that ran into, all 20,000 horses in the Derby aren't running into Preakness, so I have no idea who's going.
By the way, what are we down to in the Preakness? Because I haven't checked into the Preakness at all. Like, it's like the huge amount that you get for the Kentucky Derby, like 20 horses. And I was like, hey, by the way, 2 horses are running in the Preakness because nobody wants to run there. Tough scene all the way around, Joe. Let's get to some of those best bets now on a Friday. Here's Bye. 6-0 turned into 6-2 last night for the boys, but anybody will take a 6-2. But the key now, Joe, is to bounce back and finish this week strong. Where do we head? Oh, I like this right now. Is this where we're going? Go ahead, Joe. Come on.
Well, I can't. Let's go with your Phillies here tonight, who are on the road taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Your boy Aaron Nola is on the mound, taking on Ashcraft there at Pittsburgh. And listen, I believe in riding this Phillies train. I think they've underperformed. I think Pittsburgh is overperformed. I like Aaron Nola. I like Philly. I'd be willing to lay the run and a half in tonight's game, Donnie. I think they win by more than one at plus money.
Come on, man. Flip it up for me. You already saw it. Taking those Pistons tonight. Getting 4 people. You're not taking? You're laying? Yeah, that's what it is.